Alright everyone, what's going on out there? I see we're sorry guys, I believe I was muted the whole time. For feck's sake, my apologies. Let's start that again. Welcome along guys to 420 News. I'm your show host, Martin Condon, and 420 News is brought to you by Martin's World. And guys, I was just saying, I hope you all had a lovely weekend out there, and I hope you enjoyed Valentine's Day if you were out celebrating it. I was just kind of saying there, I don't know how you would say to a person, I hope you had a good Valentine's Day. You know, I don't know, I would just say, would you wish him a dirty night? I'm not too sure there on that one, but anyway, I hope you all had a good day there and a great weekend. Myself, guys, as I was saying all along, yeah, as I was saying all along there, I was going to be out protesting myself yesterday, which I did get out doing, which, you know, as you seen there a few minutes ago, the Valentine's Day Civil Disobedience Protest. This photo here was taken from yesterday's live video, which was shot at about 4:20 outside of the. Imagine doing the whole show muted, and it could happen if I didn't have the comments up there flowing in. I probably wouldn't have noticed I was muted. But the video, guys, is it's up online now for all to see. I think I have an old copy of it here. I'll just play a little bit of it there in the background. Just so you can see it. I kind of went into the Garda station. This was just a little introduction outside of it. Then as I got up, I went inside of there. I just stated a case to the Garda as to, you know, the reason why I'm doing it. You see it on the flower pot there, Justice for Little Collins. We are not criminals, don't panic, it's organic, and let our people grow. Number of reasons there. Justice for Little Collins, look, that's self-explanatory. I think you all know very well what went on there with Little Collins at this stage. But also the other, about a week or so ago, I covered a news story on here about a woman who'd gone out and picked up some cannabis for herself and her partner. And I raised that issue too to the guard yesterday. That's why I brought in multiple little wraps of cannabis just to tie in with this story where a woman went out and she picked up 7 grams of cannabis for herself and her partner. And she got done for dealing for it because she admitted to the guard when she got home she was going to share it with her partner. So I just unloaded that bit of information there to the guard. Also unloaded multiple other bits of information as to how the Misuse of Drugs Act, it's incorrect. And it's in the way in which it was brought about. Cannabis is regulated as a Schedule 1 drug, meaning it has no medical benefits, but we all know that's incorrect. So guys, do go over and check out that video if you would like. You know, it's up there for all to see. That this version that I'm playing now, it's an edited version. It's shortened down. I cut out all of the waiting because there was a couple of little silent parts where I was just waiting for the guard to come back with like the evidence bag and everything like that. But again, it was a good protest. I enjoyed it myself. I enjoyed it. I was shitting bricks yesterday going in there, and that's been very honest. Like the anxiety I was experiencing yesterday morning, even Saturday, just the thought of going in there facing this, like it's No, I wasn't looking forward to it. You know, it wasn't a pleasurable experience. While I enjoyed going through it, it's good to be able to stand up and exercise your rights and defend yourself and your community. It's certainly not an easy thing, and it's not something that you want to be doing. As I always say, I would much rather be spending my time in a lab somewhere doing some research with cannabis, or maybe in a facility somewhere growing some cannabis and processing it for the patients and the consumers out there alike. But until I get that day, unfortunately, I'm going to be engaged in this sort of civil disobedience protest. So this is two now so far, 2 of 12. So there's 10 more protests to come this year. I'm going to do one every month, and maybe some months I might actually do more than one. We'll see as that happens. But guys, I see a lot of comments coming in there, guys. Thanks very much, everybody, for your interaction there today. And just, guys, while I have you all there, just to remind you, you know, as you're tweeting and everything, don't forget the hashtag Justice for Little Collins, as they make today's 420 news again, as their story was covered, thankfully, in some of the media out there. One publication picked them up, which was the Examiner, and also there was the Galway Daily. I'm going to get that one up there now. Actually, I just want to make sure I got that right. The Galway Daily, yeah, the Galway Daily also covered the Little Collins story there as well. But it's great, you know, they've gotten a massive support, and that's what the Galway Daily picked up on in their article, as to the massive online support that this company is getting after the hardship they've gone through because of our backwards bloody government and their stupid misuse of drugs act. But it's great, you know, they've gotten a massive support. Even some of the celebrities here in Ireland have gotten out and supported them. This is Blind Boy. He's a part of the Rubber Bandits, but he's been actively tweeting there now in support of Little Collins also. So it's great. Let's hope we can capture this momentum. I do think there's big things coming in Ireland. And, you know, Little Collins, we've Gino Kenny's bill. There's so much to happen over the coming months that'll pave the way to how cannabis is regulated in Ireland. If Little Collins are successful in their court cases, that could effectively see the form of cannabis that they sell allowed to be sold. But what that'll do then, it'll open up a whole nightmare for a Gardai, because now you're going to have cannabis like this cannabis here, which is kind of illegal, and you could have another form of cannabis from Little Collins, which is legal, and the two of them will look identical. How will Gardai ever differentiate it? So it'll be a big headache for the regulators in our Gardai to sort out once Little Collins are successful, and I believe they will be successful. I do definitely have a lot of optimism there in that case, and again, Joe, just send them out. I wish them the best of luck in their case. They're up again in March, so next month some stage. So let's hope it's dealt with then, and it doesn't have to be dragged out any longer. But just to cover another story, guys, and you know, it is somewhat irrelevant, and I don't want to be dampening the spirits of anybody out there or to be getting anybody worried. But in the UK, there was a man up in court for something similar to Little Collins, but I think maybe different. So this case here was a UK CBD importer gets a 9-month suspended sentence, or a 9-month sentence suspended for 12 months. So this man here, he was importing CBD flowers from the Green Brothers in Luxembourg. And unfortunately, when the package was coming through the couriers, it got ripped open, or maybe they actually were just intercepting it and ripping it open. I'm not too sure here, as it was written in the thing as if it was an accident. But this guy, Luke Stephen Durwood Dotson, he believed he did not need a license to ship the goods from Luxembourg, and when police went to his house, they told him what he was doing was illegal. He asked them, why aren't you going down and getting Holland and Barrett? Why aren't they going down? So Dotson maintained his innocence up until his trial in Swansea court. And at the conclusion of the case, he pleaded guilty to possession with the intent to supply and to importation offences. The judge in the case, Judge Christopher Vosker, said the defendant described himself as a supplier of CBD products and had effectively been buying in bulk from the Green Brothers before repackaging the products and selling them on. And Dotson maintained he was his position that the material he was buying had a level of the active ingredient THC of less than 0.2%, He did not need the license to import it during his subsequent interviews and court appearances. Now, this is why I think it's a bit different to the Little Collins case. Maybe they've got a license for importation of this material, or maybe that doesn't apply in Ireland, but I'm not too sure here. Maybe the license they're alluding to here is the license for a controlled drug, because of the presence of THC within the product. It doesn't go into what license he doesn't have, so I didn't get that information on this case, but that could be a difference here in the Little Collins case and this. But nonetheless, anyway, Green Brothers actually, just to show you their website, it looks quite nice. It's a company in the Switzerland, actually. It said Luxembourg, but when you go onto their website, actually, it shows you Switzerland and stuff. So it's a very nice looking company, actually, in fairness. They have all their information here as to the services they supply. They grow indoors and outdoors. They do the extraction, and they also do some research and development. It's a family-owned company then as well, which is interesting enough. You look at the team here. It's founded by 3 brothers, and I don't know, I don't want to offend this lady down below. She could be a sister of theirs, although she looks like a bit of an older sister. Again, no offense there to you, but it's quite possible actually she's their mother as well. So again, no offense there if you're not their mother and you're their sister. I imagine if you were their younger sister, then jeez, you'll hate me, lady. But we'll look at nonetheless an interesting looking company here, and a nice looking one. Like, I don't know, is this the family home with the cannabis farm being grown behind it? If it is, it's a beautiful looking landscape that they're growing the cannabis in. You see the people here walking across the field then, amongst all of these cannabis plants, and here you see then maybe the rougher stages of harvesting anyway, where they're not going after the pristine buds. They're probably looking to harvest the biomass for extraction, for oils and things like that. But nonetheless, like, you look at this company, it really it looks like a very nice company. Really cool products as well. I imagine this is what the guy was ordering. They've got cheese, bubblegum, lemon haze. I think they've mango kush in there as well. All CBD varieties, low THC inside of here. So again, like, it's unfortunate that this man found himself up in front of the court, but unfortunately he did, and in doing so, the judge brought it upon himself to sentence the man, unfortunately. Some of the comments then from the judge said that this is a highly unusual case in that you thought you were doing what was lawful, you took steps to confirm the level of THC, you were buying from a seemingly reputable supplier. It would not be appropriate, it seems to me, to treat you in the same way as a cannabis dealer. So the judge said that he had read letters and references from customers of Datsun who said that they had benefited from taking the products being sold and by the defendant, and what he had been selling seems a medical product rather than a drug of abuse. And in finalising that, then he gave him the 9-month sentence, suspended for 12 months. So again, guys, very, like, fingers crossed here, like, that is not how the Little Collins case will end up. But I can only see that the difference here is the license. Maybe that's the difference here, and maybe Little Collins have that. But it was all CBD there. I see Knowledge is Power is asking CBD or THC. That was all CBD flowers there that they were caught with. Some other comments coming in there, guys, just to try to keep it with them. Eleanor Sims, I forwarded your protest to another CBD group. It was accepted but then deleted. Why are CBD sellers not coming together on this? They need a union or something. Yeah, that's interesting. Maybe they deleted it because the CBD group was run by a company or something like that, and they didn't want to be supporting Little Collins, maybe. You just don't know really there. But thanks very much anyway for supporting and sharing that, Eleanor. See other comments coming in there. Sean Michael says, fair play yesterday, Martin. Keep up the protest. And other comments, Eamon says, well, Martin, man, time for a reefer, I think. And yeah, I think so too, actually. I'll join you there on that one. Just empty out my bowl here. And I'm going to pack up a little bit of cannabis, guys, because, yeah, I think it's a time for a little bit of reefer, guys. If you got them out there, blaze them up. Blaze them on up, guys. Ooh, a lovely old bowl of cannabis here, guys. I get on with the rest of the news there in a couple of more seconds, and it appears that the majority of the news to come, guys, it's all going to be Ireland, apart from the final headline, which is a kind of an all-encompassing global headline. So all Irish news to come, but first, some consumption of Irish cannabis in the form of an online civil disobedience protest, guys. The protest continues. Every 420 news where I hit a bong is a protest. Yeah. Yummy, yummy, yummy. Scrumdiddlyumptious. So onwards we go, guys. Onwards we go. Podge says he's no smoke till tomorrow. Ah, man. Hopefully the postman will arrive if that's who you're waiting on. Someone else says there, how's your case? My case is pending. I'm back in court on the 26th of February for my appeal, so I'll update you there as that comes. Fino Hunter says, next time you walk about round town, feed the local birds some dank seeds. There will be Marty's plants on every corner. There you go, guys. Feed those birds some hemp seeds. Hemp seeds are amazing, incredibly nutritious. And if a bird eats them, there's a high chance, high chance that the seed will pass through the bird, come out the other side, and it could successfully be germinated upon landing on the correct ground. Also, if a bird doesn't eat them and you throw them on some grass, there is a chance there that they could germinate too, and Mother Nature then will be the criminal. Francis Carlin says, bubblegum is one of my favourites, and I had it a couple of times in the UK. And I got a bubblegum before in Amsterdam, and it actually tasted like a bubblegum. It was amazing. Like, it was so fucking nice. Like, I really enjoyed that, actually. My mouth's watering now with the thoughts of it. It was just so sweet, and it really was like after like just ingesting something sugary or something, like made your mouth water. Jack Grissom, fair play there yesterday on the protest. Keep her lit, man. Nice one there for that. Thanks there, guys, for all your comments. Still dry here in Leitrim. I feel your pain there, man. Sure fudge. And other guys coming in. Martin Organ, bum, shanka. Nice one, guys, for all those comments. Keith Griffin says, Martin, have you ever heard of Gorilla Glue cannabis? That's what I have. Happy days, man. Gorilla Glue. I have a buddy of mine who grew a bit of Gorilla Glue, and it was fucking amazing, man. It really delivered. It was a powerful one, but it had a very strong taste, actually, as well. Very pungent, very nice thing. It didn't make your mouth water, though. It certainly delivered a cotton mouth effect. It wasn't as tasty as the bubble gum, but it definitely delivered to the gorilla the strength of it. Like, you know, it was just mongified, yeah. So guys, let's drive on there with the comments, with the 420 news. So 2 men on the 8.2 million drugs haul that happened there last week. It was 7.4 million worth of cannabis, and then they later went on to find maybe a million or so worth of cocaine in a follow-up search. So 2 men appeared in court in connection to this, a massive seizure nonetheless. One of the men, named Eugene Mulligan, from Ballymote in County Sligo, he was charged with possession of 60 kilos of cannabis after his car was stopped and searched by the cops. And Garda Donald Donoghue gave evidence of the charge and cautioned of Mr. Lawler, who was the other offended, Eric Lawler of Baybush, Kildare. He was charged with possession of 314 kilos of cannabis and 11 kilos of cocaine. So quite a lot of drugs here caught up in this. They also found €18,500 in cash. And the 2 men were up in court. Was there comments there by the judge? No, not really. Not enough significance really said here by the judge. The judge refused bails and remanded them to appear before court again next week by video link. So again here, like, it's just more waste of time. A load of cops in court to deal with this. Meanwhile, there's rapists, robbers, murderers out there running around scot-free. While Gardai are going to court to deal with some cannabis charges. Like, and in this one as well, there's a lot of cannabis in it. It's a lot of cannabis. Like, if you were to put a bit of tax on that, that's millions that could be generated for the state. But unfortunately, they don't do that. There was some comments there in another article where Gardai allude to the fact that so far this year, where is it here now? The Gardaí said that so far this year, since the 1st of January 2021, the Garda National Drugs and Organised Crime Bureau have seized illicit drugs with a total estimated street value of 12.1 million. While the Garda National Drugs and Organised Crimes Bureau also seized cash to a value of over €3.27 million and one firearm accompanied by 5 rounds of ammunition within that period. I thought they seized more guns. I thought I reported more guns being seized there earlier this year. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it was only one gun. But nonetheless, 12.1 million and 7.2 million and 2.58 million were 2 recent seizures there. So over half of this seizure is just cannabis. Like, imagine if we were to just legalise and regulate this, how much time we would free up by revenue officials, by Gardaí, by judges, by solicitors. Jeez, the list goes on here with the benefits we could be doing for society by just legalising and regulating just that one drug. Just say cannabis. Just say cannabis. I think we should legalise and regulate them all, to be honest, but let's just say cannabis. It's the easiest one to talk about. It's the most palatable for some people anyway. Some other people get a bit defensive when you talk about decriminalising other drugs. But I think you should decriminalise them all. But if we were to just do cannabis, like, imagine what we could do for our society. All of those man hours freed up within the authorities, the Gardaí, the revenue. You know, it's a massive amount of time wasted every fucking year fighting this failed war on drugs. Yeah, as somebody else say, imagine the size of the cannabis industry in Ireland. It'll be huge. The Gardaí estimate that they can only stop about 10% of the drug supply getting to the streets, and that's on a good year, 10%. So there you go. Like, just those 2 seizures alone, there's about 8 million, 12 months in the year. Like, that's coming close to 100 million. So you could be saying from those estimates that the cannabis industry in Ireland could be worth about €1 billion every year. I reckon it's worth a lot more. I reckon it's worth 2 or 3 billion. But that's just my opinion, and I'm sure I'm just a stoner. What matters what my opinions are. Other news, guys. A man jailed in Limerick after cannabis was found in a car when he was parked up in a Limerick village. So in this village, Alan Callanan, 41, he pleaded guilty to the possession of the cannabis resin. And this was a case going back to February 7th, 2018. So almost 3 years ago. No, actually is 3 years ago this case is going back to. So again, guys, just a shout back to my case for civil disobedience. 3-year backlog, like 3 years for this man to get to the day when he was sentenced. Like, this is like, guys, come on. Let's just add fuel to the fire. Let's make this system burn fucking down. Like, they can't handle us. They wouldn't be able to handle us, the cannabis community, if we truly rose up against the system. Like, and I mean truly rose up. I'm not on about like sending letters. I'm not on about tweeting. I'm not on about phone calls. I am on about people getting up, going outside and engaging in civil disobedience, breaking a law that we do not want in our society any longer. It's unjust. Martin Luther King says it like that: the oppressor does not just hand back power, it's up to the oppressed to fight for it, you know. Maybe not fight for it, you know, but in a peaceful manner. You know, and he also goes on to say that a riot is the voice of those who are not listened to. As well, I believe, I could be misquoting him there in that, but I believe the quote went something along those lines. Again, guys, I love Martin Luther King. He was always a person who inspired me long before I became a cannabis activist. As a young person, you know, as a pre-teen, I always admired Martin Luther King and what he done. And maybe that's why I am who I am today. Maybe the fact I didn't stand up to bullies too that I faced when I was a kid, and when I got a backbone through martial arts, I said I'm no longer going to allow bullies to bully me. And now this estate, who I believe are the biggest bully currently with the Misuse of Drugs Act. So guys, stand up for ourselves. We have to. Like, the system wouldn't be able to handle it. They really fucking wouldn't. So when questioned, Mr. Callan told the Gardaí he had collected the drugs from another person earlier in the evening and that he was waiting for instructions when he was arrested. The drugs were put into the car near the village. He was told it was cannabis. He was waiting for a phone call as to where and when the drugs were to be delivered. The defendant added that he owed a debt of between 35,000 and 40,000 euro and admitted to carrying out the 2 other deliveries in the weeks preceding his arrest. The solicitor said his client is a father of 2 and was a part of the process of delivery, and that he was transporting the drugs for other individuals. He was also a delivery man. He was bringing the drugs from a wholesaler to the distributor, he said, adding Mr. Callan was under pressure. The barrister said his client also had a cocaine addiction in the past and had enjoyed a party lifestyle for a time, and he accepted responsibility for his actions. Having considered the contents of the probation report, Tom O'Donnell, the judge in charge, imposed a 3-year prison sentence and suspended the final 18 months. So again here, a father of 2 taking away from his family for 18 months. Not to mention the fact that he was in a massive amount of debt, 35,000 to 40,000 euro of debt. I wonder, was that attached to his party lifestyle there? Maybe he ran up a debt into his coke addiction, as that has been a case in cases before the courts, where people are addicted to one drug and they end up with a massive debt, and then they're used as a mule. And I think in cases like this, okay, you have a guy who has a massive debt, okay, he's in distaste now with his drug dealer because he owes him a load of money. Meanwhile, the drug dealer, let's say his drug dealer is one of these guys bringing in the millions worth of drugs, and that drug dealer says to a local cop, right, there's going to be a car parked down here, and it's going to have, I don't know, how much was in his car here, 60,000 euro worth of hash in the car, and it's going to be there at 2 o'clock. Go down and get it. The cop says, I'll go down and do that. And meanwhile, Mr. Drug Dealer brings in not 60,000 as the cop just seized, but maybe 6 million worth of hash or cannabis was brought in under the nose of the Gardai while they were busy with this case. Because that very well could happen in these cases. Like, you think about it, if you're bringing in 6 million euro worth of cannabis, let's say, and you stand to make a massive amount of profit, sure, what's a small part of that drug consignment? What's that? It's only small. But for the local cop, sure, that's a badge. That's an extra stripe there on his badge. You know what I mean? That's a step up the career ladder. But meanwhile, there's kids without a family now, or without a dad. You know, a broken family. There's kids who are going to have to visit their dad in a prison cell. Meanwhile, the man only needed a help with his addiction if he had an addiction that was leading to a massive drug debt. If these drugs were legal and regulated, like alcohol, you know, how many addicts out there can run up a drug debt for alcohol? How many off licenses out there will give you a tick when you go in for your alcohol if you're an addict to the drug, alcohol being a drug? None of them will give you a tick, at least not any reputable ones anyway, you know. But this is the everyday carry on for these drugs that we stigmatize in our society. And again, like, I feel bad for the kids here. A father who needed help, possibly had an addiction problem, and unfortunately was preyed upon by criminal gangs. Again, I think in this case, my opinion here is he quite possibly could have been a decoy. That's my opinion. It very well could have been a decoy for a massive consignment of drugs being delivered in Limerick. Who knows? Anyway, guys, the next headline for you guys, and I just want guys, to think about kids, what you think about 13-year-old kids and what they should be doing. Activities that they should be engaged in. And you probably know what's coming, you know, from myself. But, you know, the activities that should be coming to mind should be soccer, you know, or soccer. It should be soccer. I clicked the wrong button. It should be soccer. It should be playing hide and seek, tip the can, I don't know, bloody manhunt, or kiss, hug and torture. I don't know. Those were the games I was playing when I was 13. I was not drug dealing. Do you know, I wasn't. I wasn't drug dealing at 13. I was drug dealing, I said, at about 15, 16, but not at 13. And this was the case in a Dublin court recently, where a boy, 13, was found guilty of carrying a stun gun and being engaged in drug dealing. And like the drug dealing he was engaged with, it wasn't just a bit of cannabis. It wasn't the cannabis sweets there that they're on about there. You want Emer or whatever her name was, Emer, I can't think of it, the TD there in the dial. And she was on about, oh God, think of the kids and the edibles and stuff. This 13-year-old kid, he was caught with a stun gun. He was caught with cannabis. He was caught with crack cocaine. And he was caught with heroin. The cops stopped and searched him after they seen him engaged in what they believed to be a drugs transaction. This was a case going back again, guys, to June 2019, almost 2 years ago, like, and it's only now being dealt with in the courts. Almost 2 years, like in June, it'll be 2 years in June. The teenager was stopped and searched at which a quantity of cannabis was found on him. He was taken to the Garda station to be further searched, and heroin worth €965, along with crack cocaine valued at €263. Where they got €3 from, I don't know. And about €60 worth of cannabis was recovered, and they also recovered a stun gun from him. Guys, that's shocking stuff. Like, imagine that, like a 13-year-old out there with a stun gun. We had a case here not too long ago in Cork where I can't remember the age of the guy. Maybe he was like 15, 16, maybe. But he stabbed another lad out in Carrigaline when he asked him for €2. But this young fella, anyway, who stabbed the individual at the time, somebody hacked into his Instagram account, and it became apparent that the guy was engaged in drug dealing with cannabis for deals as little as €25. And then some of the chats, it was seen that he was enforcing his trade, as in like he was telling people pay up or I'm going to break your legs kind of thing. Do you know? And here we have a 13-year-old caught with a stun gun. Like, imagine your 12-year-old or 13-year-old is out there and he's buying a bit of cannabis there from this fella, and he gives him, I don't know, a joint, and your young fellow owes him a tenner, and he can't come up with the tenner, and the fella comes out with a stun gun and uses it on him. Man, like, what are we doing, guys? If they, like 13 years of age engaged in drug dealing, the Misuse of Drugs Act is not fit for purpose. These drugs are anything but controlled when they're being sold by 13-year-olds. Guys, your system has failed. Like, come on, like, protect the kids. Like, do what you want. You're saying you want to do. Protect the kids. End the Misuse of Drugs Act, clean it up, control the drugs, allow me to go into a store, buy cannabis from a reputable supplier. If somebody wants to go get cocaine, heroin, whatever, open up an avenue there for them to get it from a reputable source where kids are not engaged in it. Oh man, like this stuff, really, it's brain boggling. Like, it really is brain boggling. Guys, this is why I'm so prepared to go to prison for this. Like, it really is. This is backwards. This is so damaging. I have a 13-year-old daughter, guys. She's 14 this year. This is the reality they have to live with. 13-year-old boys out there with stun guns selling heroin and crack cocaine. And guys, my daughter has come to me showing me Instagram accounts where people are trying to sell her drugs on Instagram. You know, there's dealers out there following her. And she's like, Dad, look at this, Dad. And she's in the know. We've had conversations. She knows shit. She's not dumb. So she comes to me. She shows me this stuff. Guys, it's a scary, scary world out there, and the prohibitionists out there, this is what they support. This is what they want. They don't want little Collins selling us cannabis. They want 13-year-old kids selling it to us instead. Well done, Frank Fian. Well done, Helen McEntee. Well done, bloody Stephen Donnelly. Well done, the Irish government, guys, because well done. Take a bloody bow. More news, guys. Gardai sees cannabis plants and €29,000 worth of cannabis plants, and also some cocaine, and arrest 3 people when they raided 2 houses in County Tipperary. Here's the image, and the boys were tweeting again because they love tweeting. They love tweeting because our Gardai get paid good money to go on and tweet about the waste of taxpayers' money that is enforcing this Misuse of Drugs Act and taking cannabis plants from people. They seized, what was it, an estimated €29,800 worth of cannabis herb, and €3,000 in cocaine. Absolutely ridiculous here. Like, the cannabis plants, like, look at them, they were barely budding. To say that they were worth this amount of money is it's madness. But why they say it's worth that amount of money is they evaluate it off of what it would be worth at the end. And even then, potentially, I think they're undervaluing cannabis plants, to be very honest with you out there, guys. €800 for the cannabis plant. Guys, if you grow one cannabis plant and you grow it very, very good, you could get up to, I don't know, €4,000 or €5,000 worth of cannabis off of that one cannabis plant. And guys, I'm not trying to tell the authorities to change the valuation of their plants, although I would love it. I would love to see them change the value of a cannabis plant to €4,000 or €5,000. Imagine getting caught with one cannabis planting and going on to court and they're like, €5,000, Your Honour. He goes, caught with €5,000 worth of cannabis plants. But no, cannabis plant. man. But anyway, like what a joke, like what a joke. And here's a better picture of the plants. They're nice looking plants. In fairness, like the cannabis plant, it's a beautiful plant. Like give these guys a job. Like stop criminalizing them and locking them up and wasting our guards' time. Absolutely ridiculous, like. Both men have been charged in this anyway, and they're going to appear before the Limerick District Court. And both men actually, in this case, were in their 20s as well. So that again is annoying me, because the youth are getting caught up in all of this stuff. Like, these men have their whole future ahead of them, and they've now got criminal convictions for growing some cannabis. Well, I hope once it's legalized and stuff that maybe companies will honor these criminal convictions for growing cannabis as a bit of acknowledgement as to your experience in growing cannabis when people are looking to hire cannabis growers. We're not criminals, guys. We are not criminals. Free the weed. More waste of Gardai time here, where this cannabis here on the table and the money as well was seized by Gardai. So Gardai nabbed a man with €10,000 worth of cannabis, and he also seized €3,000 in cash off of him. This was in Dublin, as in the articles say, Dublin Gardai continued this week to fight lawbreakers after a man was caught with drugs and thousands in cash. He was caught with cannabis. He was caught with some plant material and a bit of cash. In fairness, like, Gardai were out on patrol in Sutton yesterday when they stopped the car as part of an investigation. And I think this was in relation to the massive seizure there in Kildare. Maybe this guy was an accomplice of one of those, a friend of one of those. I'm not too sure, but it seems within this article here that they're attaching it to it and as an investigation. But the man is currently being held in Dublin Garda Station for questioning. And the Gardai say that they seized quantity of cannabis herb and resin worth in excess of €10,000, as well as $3,000 in cash after they stopped the car while on patrol in the Sutton area on Friday night. One male was arrested as part of the investigation and is currently being detained for questioning. I don't know, has he been released since the release of that article, actually? Quite possibly he could have been. But again, what a waste of time. €10,000 worth of cannabis, not a whole lot in fairness. What's 10,000? About 500 grams, I think, thereabouts. You know, not a lot at all. Waste of time for Gardai again anyway. And somebody going to be up in front of a judge again. More waste of resources. God, man, how much waste of time goes on for this war of drugs. The next one then, guys, and it's getting close to the end of the news actually today, and it is that the sandwich bag defence, guys, just all you people out there thinking of using the sandwich bag defence, it's a defence apparently, a judge found it to be farcical, and this was a case from, I believe he's, Lucas Baran. And he was in court after he was caught with €1,500 worth of cannabis and some drug paraphernalia. Maybe he was caught with a bong or something, or maybe it was his sandwich bags. And this was at a search of his apartment in Rathcormac. So Rathcormac, County Cork, actually, I believe that is, on December 6, 2019, so about a year and a half ago. Actually 2019, sorry, 2020, all over a year ago, his solicitor Dan Ryan said that Mr. Barron's probation report had been a good one and he had engaged fully with the process and his future looked promising. Judge didn't agree with that one. No money was being made on the cannabis, and Mr. Barron repeatedly told him, although Mr. Barron admitted that he occasionally gave some cannabis to his good friend who would return the favour, but no money was exchanged. So I gave you some cannabis, you gave me some back some cannabis. That was the agreement he had with his friend. Fair enough. I've had that agreement with some friends before. You know, you give me a quarter, I'll give you back a quarter. I'm getting announced next week. Oh, sweet. Yeah, I look after you then. Happy days, man. Yeah, you don't need no money. Do you know what I mean? That's what we do for our buddies. But he had deal bags in the house. The Judge Marie Keane said that this suggestion was farcical, because he had sandwich bags in his house, and the judge called those deal bags. So guys, I don't know what the bags were. There's no image here of the bags that they caught with him, but here's some sandwich bags. Like, I don't know, was it this? Like I've gotten cannabis in these bags, to be very honest, big ones. Like, I've gotten an ounce of cannabis in a big sandwich bag. Now, I don't know, was it the little 50 bags? Was it a little 50 bag? Now, in fairness, if they were little 50 bags, then honestly, it's farcical. But if it was a big one, why is it farcical? Like, is it, why is it farcical? I hate it. Like, you get caught with a scales and automatically you're a dealer. All that does is put the consumer at risk, because now the consumer is afraid to own a device which will protect them. A weighing scales will protect you at the point of purchase, so you know you're not getting ripped off. If you're getting 3 grams, you weigh that bag and you make sure you're getting 3 grams. You know what I mean? But if the guards come to your gaff and you get caught with a quarter, and you've a scales there, and you've some empty baggies, do you know what I mean? Let's say for the last 5 weeks you've gotten a quarter every week for the last 5 weeks, and stupidly you never got rid of your bags, and the cops come, you've a scales, you've bags, you've a quarter of cannabis, you're a drug dealer, you're a drug dealer, you know what I mean? And this is the judge you're going to come up with, like, in fairness, like. And that is a nice looking sandwich, actually. I'm going to put it away now before the munchies kick in. I want a ham and cheese toasty before I know it. But you know what I mean, guys? Like, that, it's madness. The kind of how they blur the lines there. Like, they make associations. Oh, they've cannabis. Oh, they've empty baggies. Oh, there's a scales. Oh, this guy is a drug dealer. Oh God, lock him up. Do you know? Meanwhile, like, your mum and dad, they're ashamed. They have to go around, like, and keep the head down because, like, their son is up in court for being a drug dealer because he got caught with a bit of cannabis and some sandwich bags. No, in fairness, the guy got caught with €1,500 worth of cannabis in this case. But still, what's €1,500 worth of cannabis? Like, the guy could have been stocking up for lockdown, like. In fairness, he could have had the sandwich bags for portioning it out. Like, he could have been like, right, I'm going to put away enough for a week, and every week I'm just going to take a sandwich bag's worth of cannabis because I know inside there that's my week's worth. Who knows? Like, guys, as consumers, like, we're always like, we're assumed guilty before we're innocent, actually, in a court of law. Like, you're not allowed to be just a consumer. You're not even allowed to buy in bulk anymore. If you buy in bulk to protect yourself and to get a better deal, you're a dealer. It's ridiculous, like, absolutely ridiculous, guys. Let's stand up for ourselves, guys. Get out there, civil disobedience. Let's not take this discrimination any fucking longer. Like, I'm really pissed off. Like, really pisses me off. I think it's time for a bong hit, guys. But before we get that bong hit, I'll just deliver you the next headline there in this one. Actually, I'll finish off this case here. Because in this case, anyway, the judge, while he says it's farcical, he also went on to say that if you think for a minute that I believe your story about the sandwich bags, you must think I came down in the last shower. And the judge says, I want action here. I want action here. Come on, like, that's the judge. Like, she's very biased. She's given away her position. She's biased here in this, like, that she wants action here. That she doesn't believe this man. Like, it's ridiculous. Like, the judge shouldn't be doing this. The judge also went on to say that he seems to have rather fanciful ideas on how items are used in this country. And I think that's actually somewhat racial there, actually, in this country. In other words, he's not from this country, so he has ideas from another country. That's a bit racist, I think. Like, is Judge Keane racist? I don't know. Do you think that's a bit racist, guys? I think that sounds a bit racist to be saying that. A little bit. I think there's a tone of racism there anyway, like. But certainly she's definitely discriminatory as to cannabis consumers and then owning sandwich bags. Then defending the client, the solicitor said the probation report said that he was of low risk into his future. This is very promising. He's willing to engage with the probation officer further. Judge Keane remanded Barron on bail for 3 months until May 21 and ordered him engage with the probation service and addiction services. Addiction services? Why? Why send this man to addiction services? Addiction services cost money, guys. Is this man addicted? I don't think he's addicted, like. I don't think so. Like, the man, it doesn't say that he said he was addicted. Do you know why are we forcing these guys into addiction services, wasting good money of our taxpayers? It's ridiculous, like. Like, there's people go to college to learn how to actually deal with addiction and stuff and to help people with addiction. And next day, have a fella coming in and he got caught with €1,500 worth of cannabis and they're treating him for addiction. And your man's like, yeah, well, I'm actually just here because the judge told me to. I'm not actually addicted. You know, I don't feel addicted, guys. You know, they can argue I am because I'm breaking the law to do what I'm doing. But if I had to, I went to Thailand, let's say, for a month before, and I didn't engage in cannabis use over there, and it was no problem. It was no problem. Jeez, like, I'm not addicted. But anyway, in other news there, guys, revenue officers in Shannon Airport have seized €94,000 worth of cannabis. Heartbreaker of news again, and just to show you here, actually, so here's the cannabis, and I don't know if you can make it out here, but the center photo, the product, the front of the lineup in the center, it says Jack Herer on it, so that's a strain of cannabis that's in that bag. It's a big, huge. I'd imagine maybe a kilo of Jack Herer. I can't read the other bags there. I'll see if I can make it a bit larger there for you. But yeah, you see the Jack Herer. I can't really read it. I think I see cheese there actually on the back right center. But again, a few different strains there. I'm just kind of teasing myself now thinking about these cannabis strains. What a waste of time. All of this is going to be destroyed by the state, burned, unfortunately, in a wasteful manner. What is the time? 4.7 kilos here in total. The drugs were found in a parcel originating from the US, and the seizure was made on Friday. The parcel itself was declared as business documents and was destined for an address in Dublin. So whoever is out there in Dublin, guys, I feel for you. Your package ain't coming. Heartbreaker. Revenue says the seizure is part of ongoing operations targeting the importation of illegal drugs. But guys, just remember, for this one package that the revenue have seized, I would imagine there is about 99 others that have gone by undetected. You know, I maybe even 999. I don't know. Like the level of drug dealing online today is massive, and the amount of drugs that go through our postal services, it's huge. Like, it's huge. It brings in a sizable amount of money for the on post every year when the guys are going out there paying for their stamps, you know, to send their cannabis in the mail. So again, waste of time a waste of time of the authorities and a waste of taxpayers' money. And then, guys, in the final two headlines there for you today, a little bit of a funny one for you, in no way endorsing the behaviour here of the farmer, but there was a farmer caught driving the tractor under the influence of cocaine and cannabis. Funny enough, actually, like, imagine that, a counter going up to the checkpoint, and the farmer there with a bit of I don't know how he presented himself, actually. Like, it seems that he just got stopped at a checkpoint. I don't know, did they smell a bit of cannabis off him, because he was caught with cannabis on his possession also. But to be honest, like, while I was working in the glazier business out there fitting glass to plant machinery, I've had the I don't know, would you say, the pleasure of fitting plant machinery glass to tractors. And by God, like, if you were able to smell cannabis from that tractor over the other smells that were in the tractors I've been in, it must have been a very clean tractor if he was able to smell the cannabis anyway, just to say that. Because I've been in tractors there, guys, and oh God, like, you would pass out with the smell of fucking silage and stuff inside of them. Like, it was tough, like. But to see cannabis overpowering that smell, I just don't believe it. Maybe it was a new one. But he got tested anyway at the checkpoint after being caught with his cannabis. He tested positive for both cannabis and cocaine. And you just don't know here, like, maybe his cocaine use was just helping with, maybe he was drawing silage, like a late night's work there. A farmer's work isn't easy. It's no secret that doctors have been engaged in drug use, illegal drug use as well, in order to engage with the very demanding hours that they have to put in the health service, you know. But why would farmers be any different? And to say he was driving under the influence, like, our tolerance of people using these drugs, we set the threshold really low. So, like, the amount that was in his system, it might not have been an unsafe amount. It's just we just take a no tolerance approach to this, and it's unfortunate. Then, you know, this guy could have been a farmer who just used a little bit of cocaine, an old bump there, just to help him not fall asleep behind the wheel of the tractor. Like, come on, in fairness, like, I don't see too much shame in it. Like, all right, if the guy was fucking off his head and he's snorting lines like big, massive, fat Tony Montana lines, like doing Scarface shit, like, I don't know, like maybe then I could like look down on him a bit. But maybe he was just a farmer and he was just trying to do his job and stay awake. I don't know. Like, cocaine is definitely beneficial there for that, to keep you awake and to keep you engaged with your work. It'll certainly motivate you to make some money anyway. At least that's what I heard. Like, the people who take cocaine, they want to do business with you. They want to do business and they want to make money. Right. Stop laughing at your own jokes, Martin. Final bit of news, guys, and this one is and it's a good one. I want to finish it on a high note. Woohoo! On a high note. And with that one being said, actually, I'm going to take a bong hit, and I'll just get rid of that image. But there's your headline: cannabis market to be worth 20.2 billion in 2020, or it was worth 20.2 billion in 2020, and it will be worth over 90 billion by 2026. So that's a very short period of time for such a massive growth of an industry. But this was a bit of research done. This isn't just some fucking stoner article where some guy was like, "Oh, cannabis is going to be worth loads of money." No, this was actually peer-reviewed, like an academic research paper that was published in the markets. Do you know what I mean? This stuff flies above my head. I like the science journals. I can understand some of the jargon within the science journals, marketing ones. Straight ahead me, like there was something in there actually in it, GCPR or something, but here you go, like cannabis market and application, like there's the title of the publication if you want to look it up and look into it. The headline is just one piece of information that came from that actual publication. But if you're all interested in that stuff, do definitely go over and have a read off it. But as I say, finish on a high note. So yeah, the cannabis market is estimated to be valued at and that's US dollars, 20.5 billion in 2020, and it is projected to reach 90.4 billion US dollars by 2026, recording a CAGR, which is a compound annual growth rate of 28%. If that means something to you out there, guys, excellent. I'm delighted for you. That means nothing to me. I don't know what a compound annual global rate actually means. I think it's just a recurring growth every year of 28%. So the market will keep repeatedly growing by 28%. That's my simple understanding of it. The market is primarily driven by factors such as growing medical applications of cannabis, an increasing legalization of cannabis, and the rise in its social acceptance. North America accounted for the largest market share in the cannabis market owing to the increasing legalization of cannabis for both medical and recreational purposes across the region. So interesting here, North America, the guys who led the war on drugs, the guys who started the prohibition of cannabis, so to speak, you know, at least they were at the forefront of it and pushing for it globally anyway. Like, look at them, they're now the guys making the most of it. It's crazy, like. But the recreational segment then is projected to be to grow at the highest compound annual growth rate during the forecasted period. So based on the application then, the recreational segment, it is rapidly growing as it is highly demanded and consumers and consumed by the consumers. And certainly during the lockdowns, we've seen this where cannabis was made an essential service in the US, and the sales skyrocketed. Like they went through the roof, because what better to do? Like, if you're stuck at home, feck it, like Netflix and chill is made 10 times better with a bit of cannabis, you know. But yeah, it's the European region then is projected to grow at the highest compound annual growth rate during the forecast period, and that's because due to the increasing legalization of medical cannabis in the region. And I wonder, actually, is it actually to do with the strict control of cannabis and the growing of cannabis here that will see the most growth? Because if we are not able to grow cannabis and medical companies are able to grow and process it and sell us products from it, that's just going to increase the demand for their products then, because you're going to have people who have no choice but to get it from them. So I wonder, is that adding to the reason why where Europe is projected to be the fastest growing market over this region, and to, I don't know, is it to possibly overtake the US then in doing that? Who knows? I don't know. As I say, I don't really understand this marketing stuff. But yeah, as I say, it's good news. Cannabis is definitely fucking here to stay. It's not going away, and that's for sure, guys. And I definitely think it's going to be legalized here sooner rather than later. And that's why I'm not at all afraid to stand up and engage in civil disobedience, because as I was showing there in some of the news articles there earlier, the court systems, they're backlogged. It's going to take them a long period of time to get your case to court. And if we've a massive amount of us doing this collectively together, it's going to take even longer. And they're going to have to do something. Maybe the thing that they do then will change the law that we are breaking, because we're breaking the system by breaking the law. So there we go, guys. That is all of today's 420 news. Thanks very much, everybody, for tuning in and for watching the show. I see the audience there has grown a little bit actually today. See the numbers are up. So thanks very much, everybody. Thanks everybody for your comments as well. The interaction with the show is amazing. See a great little community building out there. See people conversing with each other as well. So thanks very much, everybody, there again. And just to remind you guys as well, if you want me to read your tweets or your comments or anything like that at the end of the show, just make sure you hit that at Martin, and I'll be able to see that then a bit easier as I read back through them here now in a couple of seconds. So guys, thanks again. And here's your comments. So Podge says that's a promotion for, and that comment just disappeared. Ah, damn it. Kiss, Hug and Torture, I don't think that game is allowed anymore. Kiss, Hug and Torture, yeah, maybe actually it's not allowed. Certainly not allowed with the restrictions on you. There's some lovely filth down there says this is what happens when you make something illegal and put it into the hands of scumbags. Knowledge is power. Don't forget to press that like button. 100%, guys. Like, share, and tell a friend. Let people know. Like, don't just share it online, share it offline too. When you go to work, let people know that crazy guy down in Cork, that rebellious Cork rebel, going down and engaging in civil disobedience. Like, fucking maybe Ireland has a bit of fighting there yet. Sean adds in there to 2 stone to back out of comments till end of comments till end knowledge. Knowledge is power says 34 watching live and only 11 likes. Are you all Gardai? Oh, that's interesting. Are you guys? I hope you are. I hope there is some Gardai out there watching, because I think like it's only a matter of time before they win him over. Like, come on, I'm somewhat likable. Come on, I don't know, like, I'm a bit annoying, all right. Like, I laugh at my own jokes a bit too much. At least I get killed by that from the kids. Dad, you laughing at your own jokes again? Come on, if you don't laugh at your own jokes, no one's going to laugh at them. And he's still laughing at his own jokes. Keith Griffin says, you giving us the munchies with that sandwich? I certainly am, guys. Jack Grissom says, as if you couldn't have a scales for baking or something like that. Yeah, you definitely couldn't, but how many of your weighing scales are like just caked in cannabis? Like, in fairness. Yeah, I was cooking cannabis. I needed to weigh my cannabis for cooking. Yeah. Darren Sheehan says he loves the show and he liked and shared it. Nice one, Darren, for that. Much appreciated, guys. Podge says, I've 3 sets of scales, for fuck's sake. How many of them look like mine, Podge? Christy says, ham and cheese toasties all the way. Yes, man, ham and cheese toasties. Like, how many of you got those in Amsterdam? A ham and cheese toasty or hot chocolate with a load of whipped cream on top. Oh, good lord, man. Happy memories there of those. Yeah, I practically lived on ham and cheese toasties actually in Amsterdam, to be fair. Happy 420 there, guys, to everybody in Iceland. I've definitely had a few Icelandic brothers and sisters out there who tuned into the show from time to time. It is now 420 in Iceland, guys. Christy O'Neill, nice one for your comments. Kinsey says, definitely a bit racist. Yes, I thought so too. I'm glad I'm not the only one. Adrianitis, he says, that's an interesting point. Being a consumer does mean stocking up and looking for better deals. It certainly does, guys. You know, when you go out and buy your bottle of beer, you know, you buy one bottle for €2 or you get a six pack for €10. Does that mean because you have a six pack now that you're going to sell it to your buddies? You know, in fairness, like, come on. Um, or there was four six packs there for 15, you know, like 20 bottles for 15. That's a fucking good deal, isn't it? Oh, come on, like my dealer had a good offer there on a kilo, Your Honor. He gave me the kilo for half price. Come on. I love my own jokes, don't I? Monsieur Fudge says, my favourite good old Jack, why oh why. Podger Donovan says, what a waste. Oh my god, they would taste amazing. They really would. Miles Murphy says, thank you on post. Guys, they are doing an excellent job. I'm just going to just take a second to applaud the guys in On Post who are doing a stand-up job getting you your cannabis day to day. I believe they're now doing a 6-day delivery of parcels. The demand is so high. Hey, it's so easy. Raining Rock, methinks a kilo of Blue Bent in the back middle. Blue Bent, is that another strain? I wasn't aware of that strain name. I'm going to have to check that one out there on Leafly. Shout out to Leafly, guys. If Leafly want to sponsor the podcast at all, guys, shout me out there. But yeah, check out Leafly, guys. If there's any cannabis strain name and you want to find it, Leafly is a very good place to go and find a bit of information and also get a bit of feedback from consumers who've given feedback on the site for that particular strain. That's Leafly, Leafly. Knowledge is power. Amphetamines in military pilot is common. There you go, guys. There's lots of professions out there who engage in some. Nice one, whoever done that. I believe that's a new follower on Twitch, so I have to sort that pop out. But yeah, there is certainly certain careers out there that have been where people would engage in certain illegal drug activity. And as Knowledge is Power says there, amphetamines in the military for pilots is very common. Darren Sheehan says, we'll stick with the herbs. Yes. Michael John says, hey, any advice for smoking with low blood pressure, please? Yeah, certainly. There was a study that's after being undertaken now in Australia, I believe, that's looking into that a particular thing. But certainly there has been shown that it can have an effect if your blood pressure is high. Cannabis has been attributed to being able to lower blood pressure. But has it been attributed to being causing a low blood pressure? Certainly when you look at something like a whiteout, the whitey, I think there is a drop in blood pressure at those moments. And that's certainly brought on by the cannabis. So I think that's all I can really put in there for as far as information. As advice goes, know your dose. Start low. If it's your first time using cannabis, as I said, the whiteys, they're normally when you have a bit too much and your system isn't used to having THC or cannabis within it. So start low, go slow, and know your dose. Like, you know, just if it's edible, just try a little crumb. Like, really, just try a little crumb, wait an hour, then take a nibble more, wait another hour, and if you're feeling brave, take a little bit more. But really, low and go slow. That's my advice if you're worried at all about low blood pressure, because I think the only problem is when it comes to the whiteys and the blood goes, you know, they go white. That's the blood pressure dropping. So that's my advice. Go low, go slow. Boom boom. Other comments. Jack Grissom, Martin, I can't wait till we can grow. I have a farm full of it. Yes, man, I can't wait either. I really can't wait. I built a little greenhouse up my back garden there last year during the lockdown, and I would love to be able to grow a load of cannabis inside it. If I can get an honours degree in herbal science and I know how to grow all these amazing herbs, and cannabis would really complement them really well. Owen Gillett says, thank you, Martin. Not a bother at all, Owen. Happy to help. Knowledge is power. There's no shame in drug use, whether it be cocaine or cannabis. It should all be legal. 100% agree with you there. It should all be legal, and we should define proper, safe standards when it comes to things like drug driving. As I go back to that farmer, why can't a farmer use, like, if a farmer drinks coffee to stay awake, or if a farmer uses a bit of cocaine to stay awake? Shout out to Dana Larson, who I talked with last two or 3 weeks ago on the podcast. He runs a cafe, an illegal one in Canada, and he sells coca leaf tea. Maybe this farmer had some coca leaves and he was drinking a coca leaf tea. Maybe he was chewing the coca leaves. Who knows? Maybe he wasn't actually snorting cocaine, but when you test positive for it, you assume it. Maybe that farmer was actually chewing on the leaves, and the journalist didn't do due diligence to look into it. Or maybe the farmer wasn't willing enough to speak up about it. But certainly there is an argument that cocaine, the alkaloid found within the leaf, that the leaf could be used by the farmer, and he could do a very good and nice job, drive very safely, and put nobody in danger. Like, yeah, certainly we should decriminalise the drug users, and have sensible drug policies, and stop discriminating against people. It's madness. Michael John says, oh yeah, I answered that there for you, Michael. Darren Sheehan, nice one there. The guy's having a comment or a conversation. And another follower, I think, on Twitch. Go on, the Twitch followers, I think that is. Tony Cleland on Facebook, he says, thanks for your research and time, Martin. Lessons learned every time I tune in. Not a bother at all, Tony. It's an absolute pleasure, guys, to have you as an audience and to be able to deliver this information to you. So yeah, thank you guys. Monsieur Fudge, good job, Martin. Nice one. And knowledge is power. Recording numbers live. Keep the likes going. Nice one there, knowledge is power. Encouraging guys to like the stream and to share it. Key Griffin, he says, you are brilliant for what you're doing, and keep our lip row. Nice one, guys. I really appreciate your support, guys, and praise for doing this. For myself, I'm just kind of, I was only ever standing up for myself in doing this, but now over time it's become, I'm standing up for an entire community of people out there that I've been standing up for. So guys, no problem at all. I'm more than happy to do this. Killing the two birds with the one stone, so to speak. Padge Donovan says, that's one dirty scales there, Martin. It certainly is. It certainly is. I like to weigh out my cannabis, and I know how much I'm consuming daily. When I get it off my body, I kind of get an ounce at a time, and I'll just make sure that I'm trying to stick to maybe 2 grams a day. I'll just weigh out 2 grams for that day, and sometimes I've some left at the end of the day. More often or not. Other times I'm dipping in for more. Jack Chris and Martin, they would probably value them scales the same as plants. They probably would, in fairness, man. I had a buddy call over one time, and he was giving me some cannabis, and I whipped out my scales for him to split it, because obviously he wasn't driving around with his own scales, and he was just like, Martin, boy, he was like, you've no weed and you haven't been smoking for the last few days. And he was like, look at your scales, boy. He was like, you make a joint off of that. And I was like, yeah, you probably would, all right. I didn't even think of it. But there you go, guys. Cannabis is not addictive. Like, for a week, I had the makings, as I say, I had the makings of a joint here somewhat in my grinder. And I wasn't skagging, you know what I mean? Going around ripping the house apart looking for a nodge everywhere. No, like, just like, shit, I can't get anything this week. Well, it's a balls. Send a text maybe to one of the boys, let them know I'm looking, and if I don't hear back, like, I'm not going to text them an hour later or the next day or the day after, you know what I mean? Every day annoying them. I'll wait. You know? Cannabis is not addictive. Alright, jeez, cannabis is somewhat addictive. You enjoy it so much. Josh says, when will the cannabis bill be presented to the Dáil? Gino Kenny says that the cannabis bill will be presented at the Dáil in June or July. Much to my dislike, I was hoping to see it much sooner, but it seems like maybe there's stuff to be done, preparations for it, but June or July, we won't be seeing that bill until, anyway. At least the Dáil won't see it. Maybe he might make it public before then, who knows. Podge says, can I borrow your scales? Oh yeah, man. Shit, sorry about that, Podge, man. He says he'd probably get a joint off it. Pad Whelan says, Martin World, we should start a huge advertising campaign and get the information out there. So the unfortunate thing about that actually is there's a lot of discrimination about advertising anything to do with cannabis. Even if it's information. So again, shout out to Patients for Safe Access, who I've been involved with and set up. I'm a director of Patients for Safe Access, along with Kenny Tynan and Martin O'Brien and Alicia Maher. And yeah, we've difficulty now with ads on Facebook and things like that when it comes to the cannabis when it's included in the post, because Facebook will pull our ads, and they'll also ban our page if we start advertising cannabis, even if it's a cannabis information post as to maybe a medical benefit. But that's like, I suppose, no news to you guys. I've reported on that before, where Karen Gray, a patient, or the mother of patient Murray, over in Scotland, she's had numerous posts flagged and has been banned from posting on Facebook numerous times because of information she gave out as to how cannabis was benefiting her and her child. And it wasn't misleading information. It wasn't false information. It was factual. It was her story. They didn't want it, you know? It's mad. It really is mad. Other comments coming in there, guys. Check out patientsforsafeaccess.com, actually, guys, if you haven't done so already. Maca Granite, he says, I am the one. Go on, Macaman Granite. I think he's the one making those Twitch interaction things come up there. The one and only. Or maybe he's singing a song, I don't know. I am the one and only. I don't know. Jeez, lads, I'm getting through loads of comments today. Jeez. Keith Griffin, he says, would Duffo love to meet you in person, Martin? Keith, man, we can make that happen sometime, for sure. I would love to make it happen with a load of people out there. Let's have a lovely little smoke up. Let's have tea in the park, so to speak, you know. Let's wait until the restrictions, I suppose, allow it, obviously, because we don't want to bring any negativity towards the cannabis community for disobeying any of these guidelines that they've been putting out there. Let's just break the cannabis consumption laws and cannabis growing laws where possible. But yeah, definitely, guys. There's so many of you out there I would love to meet up with and blaze one. Podge says, I'm looking forward to when we can all have a meet up and enjoy a chat and a few puffs as a community. Me too, Podge, man. Me too. That's a great way to consume it. Fair play and a good bit of advice for people. Yeah, there you go, guys. Yeah, that was going on about the go low and slow. Start low and go slow. If you haven't tried cannabis before, like, don't be trying to keep up with the likes of, say, me when I do a big bong hit. Don't be thinking you can come along and just do a big bong hit. Like, no, definitely, like, just pack that bowl. Put in about maybe a tenth of what I might put into a bowl if it's your first bong hit. Adrianida says it's as addictive as chocolate. There you go, guys. Yeah, it is as addictive as chocolate. I would agree with that. Or, you know, I would agree with that. Maybe you could argue as addictive as coffee. Also, arguably. I think that comparison has been made by I think it was Professor Professor David Nutt. Professor David Nutt, who runs the Drug Policy podcast. He talks about the fact that the withdrawals from cannabis, they're no different from the withdrawals from coffee, and I think he compares the addiction to the two actually being similar, or maybe even caffeine being more addictive than cannabis. That'd be one to think about. For Grace says, even CBD, it's very hard to advertise. Yeah, that's right. For Grace there, guys, and he runs the Cork Herbal Products store. I believe if you want to throw up the store name, Ferg, if you're still active, so people can see it. But he's active here in Cork, and he sells CBD products to people as well. And he's had his Facebook page, I believe it was taken down and gotten rid of, if I'm right. But you're still active on Instagram and through your own personal page there as well. Ferg, just alluding to the fact there that advertising, even for CBD companies, they're being discriminated against and they're not allowed to advertise their product, and that's unfortunate. Crystal Flaherty says he used to smoke regularly, but now only the odd time, as it feels like my head is going to explode. Any idea why this happened? Fair miss smoking regularly. Maybe your tolerance just went down. I'm not too sure there as to why it feels like your head is gonna explode. Um, is it that when you smoke too much, it feels like it's gonna explode, or is it when you smoke a number of days in a row, it feels like it's gonna explode? Because that'd be an interesting one. That'd be an interesting one to know. Um, yeah, but definitely, I know myself when I've taken tolerance breaks. I certainly have to just take it slow again. When I talk about that time I was without cannabis for the week and I got some off my friend that evening. Man, that first hit of cannabis, like it made me sweat a little bit actually. And it certainly gave me a nice head rush. But I don't know there, Chris. Maybe if you give me a little bit more information there as to what you mean by makes your head explode. Is it when you smoke too much, or is it when you smoke a couple of days in a row? Coxo says for someone who might want to get a criminal record or are afraid of doing what you would say is the best protest in Ireland. What is the best protest at the moment? The best protest in Ireland at the moment is speaking up and speaking out. If you don't want to be painted as a target on your back, and if you're afraid to out yourself as a cannabis consumer, um, then I think there's a number of ways you can engage in the campaign. I suppose you can just support the medical campaign and talk about that and share that. Like you don't have to be a consumer of cannabis to support the right for patients to access cannabis. So speaking up loud and proud about that is one thing you certainly could be doing. As I say, you don't have to be a consumer of cannabis to support that campaign. Um, yeah. Anything else you could be doing? I don't know really. Like, I've lost faith in those forms of protest. Really, like these online campaigns, they build spirits. They do. They pick people up and everything, and I think that's great. It's great for the community. It's great for our mental health out there who campaign for this and think that there's light at the end of the tunnel for us. I think those campaigns do a lot for that. For the politicians, for the policy makers out there, I don't think it does enough to move the needle there at all for them. You see the case of Vertumi and the other patients before. They were unable to move the needle with their stories and their campaigns, and their campaign involved like a child that was like in need of life-saving medicine, and still even then they were slow to act. They dragged their feet. I just don't know, are they going to do something because like, oh, we all share a hashtag there, a hashtag justice for little Collins or whatever. It's great, those hashtags come and go. Hashtag talk to Vera was another one. Hashtag make it medicine, make it happen. They all come and gone. And where are we with cannabis and cannabis prohibition? I don't know, guys. Like, as I say, the system as it is, the tool that they use to keep us down, to oppress us, we need to challenge it. We need to stand up against it. And I think that's the only effective thing we can do together as a community, is just clog up the system, like literally clog it up with people so that it's incapable of operating anymore. So then the policymakers will have to address it, because that same system has rapists, murderers, thieves going through it, and they need to be dealt with. And meanwhile, it's been clogged up because of cannabis consumers. It's been clogged up because of us all along. It has. It really has been clogged up with us because all along. We make up a majority of the court cases, I would imagine. Big portion of the work that they do would be targeting us. So like we need to step up, and I sadly I'm just left with the final option is civil disobedience. And as I say, like, I'm prepared to go to prison for it, like, and I'm just using myself now and as a martyr, so to speak. I think every campaign needs a martyr. Little Collins has been one for us. Vertumi was one for and continues to be a campaigner. For us. So I just think we all need to speak up now and stand up. I don't know. Maybe next month, my mission next month maybe will be to engage in actively handing over cannabis to a patient. So, guys, maybe if you're a patient out there and you're having difficulty in getting access to cannabis, and you would like to get access to cannabis, and you would like to come with me and engage in a civil disobedience protest, well, here I am now looking for you to come down, and I will bring cannabis for you. All you have to do is show up. We're going to go down in front of the guard in Addy's office, and we're going to present ourselves like as I did in the video, introduce ourselves, and I'm going to show the guard then, and I'm going to, look, guard, this is me actively giving this person cannabis. Do your job. Who's up for it? Who's up for it? Who out there needs cannabis for medical reasons, for legitimate medical reason? You suffer with chronic pain, you're a cancer patient, you're an epilepsy patient. Guys, who out there suffers with a legitimate reason and you believe cannabis will benefit you and you cannot access it? Come on down. Here's your opportunity now to step up and be heard. If somebody comes to me before next month, I'll do it sooner. I'll do it sooner. I would no problem at all go down to the Garda station and hand you cannabis in front of a guard, and then you then have to hand it to the guard, and you too get caught in possession of it, but I've been caught dealing it to you. That's the ask. That's the ask. So you have to be prepared, guys, to come down, and you will be done for possession of cannabis as a patient, and I will be done for dealing cannabis as a person. Just out of pure compassion, I would like to see you supplied with cannabis to hopefully alleviate your pain, if that's what your condition was, so to speak. I would happily do that. I would happily do it in front of a guard, and I would happily go in front of a judge for that act too. So, guys, I'm just putting it out there, like, you know, I'm prepared. You know I'm prepared. So, step up. Step up. Let's do one more bong hit, boys. Guys, before we go. Fucking hell. I actually have a tears coming to my eyes there. I got a bit emotional in that one. I get very emotional in this stuff, guys, because so many lives affected by this, like, do you know? And I believe we are making history, and I believe if we just step up, and, do you know, every movement, every campaign in history was it all started with just somebody stepping up and just saying enough is enough. Enough is enough, you know. We can't take this for any longer. And I'm not claiming to be that person to step up. Like, there's been many people before me who stepped up and they've campaigned and they've spoken out. But maybe I'm the first here to engage on this level of civil disobedience. I don't know. I just don't know, but, like, you know, campaigners who've come and gone, like, shout out to John McCarthy, like, who rest in peace, like, set up Mad Pride Ireland, and he's campaigned with us in the past. When I was still in my teens. I was only 18 at the time. 18? Yeah, I would have been 18, 19 when John McCarthy spoke for us outside of the Peace Park in Cork City. You know, a really great, well-attended event. We marched around the whole city. But still, here we are, like, fucking, that was 2009, and here we are, like, 11 years later. Closer though, closer, guys. We are much fucking closer. That's what I will say. The day is coming. I don't know. All you naysayers out there to say 5 to 10 years. I believe we can do this in 1 to 2 years if we do what I'm proposing we do. Civil disobedience, guys. Just get up, stand up, and, you know, just clog the system, guys. Civil disobedience. That's for all you guys out there that don't have cannabis right now. Sending me some stony vibes. Ooh. So, guys, a few more comments and then we'll end the stream, because I believe we're going for nearly an hour and a half now, actually. Geez, longest 420 news to date, I believe. Pod says Ireland once thought what we spoke up to... Ireland once thought, what if we spoke up together and fought for our rights? 1916 isn't that long ago. It is not, guys. It is not that long ago. And maybe some of that stuff there, when the 1916 was being celebrated there at the centenary events, I was certainly inspired by the actions of those people in the past, who didn't worry about losing a job or like, you know, they didn't worry about losing anything because they fought for their freedom, which is what I'm fighting for right now. I see the same fight for freedom. The people might see this as a fight for cannabis, as a fight for freedom. We're being oppressed, much like the people in 1916 were fighting oppression and standing up. They didn't shy away from the fight for fear of what ifs. What if the cops come and raid my house? What if I get up before a judge? What if I get caught with a bit of cannabis? Imagine if Michael Collins thought like that. Or what if the British Army come after me? Jesus, what if I couldn't get a job then as a solicitor or whatever Michael Collins was? I don't know what he was. That shame on me there for not knowing what exactly Michael Collins was. I think he was a lawman, but I could be wrong. But anyway, I definitely took a lot of inspiration there during that time of the centenary, and I was always a person who enjoyed the Wolf Tones and the old rebel songs on a Sunday morning, heading out hunting with the dogs. Miles Murphy, do you think a weekly anonymous drop-off of cannabis plants to a Garda station would be an effective means of protest? Yes and no. Yes and no. Like the cops, if you just bring cannabis to a cop station and drop it off and leave it there, the cops are just going to throw it away. So I think no in that instance. If we bring it to the guard station, a nice one there for sharing the stream there. But if we were to bring it and actually hand it in ourselves, like what happened yesterday when I went in with the cops, like he had to put that into an evidence bag. The samples of cannabis I gave him, and Collins was a charlatan, someone said. But the samples I gave him and the cannabis the cannabis plant I gave him all have to be stored in evidence now and kept for a court case. So certainly if I went back in today with another cannabis plant in a pot, and I went back in tomorrow with another cannabis plant in a pot, and I went back in the day after, all these have to be kept and they all have to be stored. There comes a point where they run out of storage room, and also not only the storage room but the paperwork builds up, and the DPP, they can only process so many cases, so that's where it becomes effective. If we actually hand it in ourselves and present ourselves as possessing it, for the intention of being criminalised, for the guard to do their job and for you to be getting a day in court. You don't want to be getting a caution. You don't want to be any of that. You want your day in court to challenge the Misuse of Drugs Act based upon our Constitution. It's not just going in there and challenging it. It's based upon our Constitution. There's an episode of 420 News that I covered all of this, how the Misuse of Drugs Act violates our constitutional rights, our human rights, and I cover them all there. But again, just to name a few, our right to liberty, our right to be able to get a job, our right, freedom of travel, our right to privacy. Those are just four of our rights that are inalienable. We can't opt out of them. Like we shouldn't be able to waive those rights, and Gardaí shouldn't be able to come and just violate those rights for some fucking nonsensical policy around the misuse of drugs. Like these drugs, misuse of drugs, like my use of cannabis. How dare you judge me and regard it as misuse because it's outside of the law? My use of cannabis, I must be an addict because I'm using cannabis outside of the law. That's discrimination. How dare you? There's a prohibition of discrimination within the human rights. There's another violation. How dare you? You just shouldn't do that. Like it's ridiculous. This is why we all need to stand up for our rights. I see a few people there don't really like Michael Collins. Padgett Edelman says he'll join me 100%. James Maxwell says multiple individuals going into the police station like what you did yesterday to hand in a small amount and show them how useless it is and how much unnecessary paperwork and court time it takes. Certainly I think maybe I'll try to chat it out with JP. Maybe JP endorses a campaign like this, because imagine if we got all of the little Collins supporters to do this. Imagine if we got all of the people who signed the petition. There was 1,500 of them to go down to Kilkenny Garda Station, the guards who targeted them, and do this. Kilkenny Garda Station would run out of evidence bags very quickly. They wouldn't be able to handle it from the get-go, from day one. If all of us went down, I think there's 1,500 people now that signed that petition. I might just throw it up on a screen there just so you can see it actually. Not that petition. Bum, bum, dum, all right, no, I don't have it there. But there's a petition up there for Little Collins anyway. I thought I would have been able to pop it up on screen easy, but go check that out. I don't really believe too much can come of petitions, but I signed this one nonetheless anyway. It's been a while since I actually signed a petition. Joe Harnett says, Martin, you champion, just watched the protest. Nice one, Joe. Glad you enjoyed it. Thanks there for the support. But yeah, guys, I'll see if JP gets behind that. I think we should all do it. Go down with a little bit of CBD. Imagine all the people out there who consumed CBD and went down and challenged the law at the guard station, saying, I have some CBD here. I would like my day in court because I don't believe what I'm doing is wrong, and I believe it's unconstitutional for you to violate me and discriminate against me like this. Martin the Martyr has a nice ring to it. Don't think I'm as brave as you, but the open smoke protest with lots of people attending seemed pretty okay to me. Hopefully next summer again. 100% guys, if I have anything to do with it, we will be having these little smoke ups outside again. Protests, 100% the protest, they might be advertised as a smoke up, as a smoke in the park or whatever, but it is a protest when we gather together as a community openly and publicly and consume cannabis. And I say consume because not everybody smokes it. Some people take it in different forms. So consume cannabis. We are doing so in a protest against the Misuse of Drugs Act as it violates our constitutional rights. Andrea says, well done, Martin. Nice one. Thanks very much, Andrea, for your support and for commenting. Appreciate it. Mustawa says, well, Martin, so frustrating seeing the inaction of our politicians dragging this on for so long. It really is. It's ludicrous. Like, it really is. Like, Luke Wing Flanagan put a bill before him, and he said there recently that they didn't even acknowledge it. He could tell that they didn't even research the bill. For me, like, and Luke might not like this, like, but he left us down and the cannabis community down, because if that was me up there, guys, I would have got fired in certain respects, because I would have engaged in civil disobedience as a politician, as a TD. I would have brought cannabis into the to the Dáil and demanded I be arrested out of the Dáil for bringing cannabis in. Gino Kenny right now, like, again, like, sorry Gino, like, but you need to step it up in terms of, like, you're active. I know you're a politician, but you're still an activist, aren't you? I thought you were an activist anyway. I thought I seen you described somewhere as an activist. But you need to step it up, man. Come on, bring some cannabis in. Like, order some cannabis from Little Collins and bring it into the Dáil. There you go, Gino. This is me challenging you right now, guys. And maybe, guys, like, tag him in it. I did get a tweet going. I don't know, guys. Anybody out there watching, think up of something. But we should get Gino to challenge this. It shouldn't be just me engaging in civil disobedience. Let's say that. Imagine if it was Gino Kenny and he done it in the Dáil. Imagine if he was in there tomorrow and he was like, lads, I've some CBD there. This is cannabis. There's a company down the road and the guards are targeting them. The revenue are targeting them. There's hundreds, thousands of people across the country who depend on Little Collins to deliver them a product that's quality assured, and it's not going to get them high. And the Gardaí are shutting their business down, putting those people at risk of having to go to the black market or to other, maybe not as high quality sources. Do you know? Like, come on, Gino. Guys, Gino, I'm putting it out there, but golden opportunity for you to now come out and be the champion of the cannabis community, like, to take the lead on this. Like, I would gladly step behind you and support you in your acts of civil disobedience. Like, so there you go, Gino. There you go. Like, that, just, I don't know, what's that, like, a call out? That's my call out there for you, like, or my challenge. Civil disobedience challenge. There you go. That's the hashtag, civil disobedience challenge. There we go. That's the one. Would he do it, guys? I don't know. What do you think? Do you think he'd do it? I don't know. Let me know there in the comments. I'll get through one or two more comments. I see a few more coming in. I see Eleanor Simmons sharing Ender Pain Facebook page there as well. Nice one there for that, Eleanor. I've definitely mentioned Ender Pain multiple times on the show before. And you have a couple of links there as well to what the patients say and stuff. Thanks very much as well for sharing those. Very worthwhile looking in through those, guys, if you haven't ever seen Ender Pain. But I've definitely brought him up on the show numerous times before as well. Boom. very true. Chain of custody, chairs, Martin. And that comes in from Miles Murphy. Nice one there, Miles. Knowledge is power says, if we all join Sinn Féin, then we should go in with a plan to collectively reform the drugs policies to support legalisation of drug decriminalisation, drug testing, and cannabis legalisation, among others. So yeah, guys, actually, to go back to an earlier question, and I know this is a very long stream. Jeez, we're nearly coming to close to 2 hours. Apologies, but there was a question I asked earlier: is what's the best form of protest people could engage in? And this was maybe not a protest, but a political action. But people could sign up to Sinn Féin, okay? It's certainly the government at the moment, they're not performing very well with the rollout of the vaccines. And they might fall foul to that, and an election could be seen sooner rather than later in Ireland. And if that happens, Ireland, Sinn Féin are at the forefront to taking control of Ireland. I think that there's suspicions out there that they could, and I think they're somewhat correct anyway. I'm not a political expert or by any means, but I definitely think there's some legitimacy to those beliefs. So certainly something we could do is we could all join Sinn Féin. I'm very much considering joining Sinn Féin for the sole reason of attending the Ardèche, and to do what Knowledge is Power just said, is to collectively reform the party from inside to support drug policy that would see the legalisation and decriminalisation of cannabis and some other drugs, the opening up of drug testing, and proper facilities there, such as supervised injection facilities and things like that. You know, all of the positive harm reduction stuff, and the end the stigma, end the discrimination of drug users in our society. We could do that. We could all do that together. Join Sinn Féin and change the party from within. We can only do that together, collectively, from within the party, and by attending the Ardèche and casting our votes. So that's certainly something that's been touted there by some of my buddies who believe that Sinn Féin are going to take the lead in the next election, and we should join them and we should change it from within. So there you go. That's just from some other people. But yeah, I would agree with that there as well, and I am considering joining Sinn Féin. Knowledge is power. That's a great point, and that comes in from Podge. Nice one, guys. There. Jungler says, are the massive surge of new Sinn Féin members from the last election, most were young people. How many would be sympathetic to legalisation? So many would. A lot of people that I know actually that joined Sinn Féin, and I know a lot of people who joined Sinn Féin in the last election because, as you said, there was a lot. And those people actually voted for me as well. They gave me the number 1 and Sinn Féin the number 2. Call me. But anyway, besides the point, they support legalisation, and they believe that some Sinn Féin supported decriminalisation in some part anyway. But I don't think that's voted upon in the Ardèche anyway. Karen Griffin says Sinn Féin can't be worse than what we have at the moment. 100%, man. It can't get any worse. And jeez, man, touch wood. I you know. Knowledge is power says we need more drug policy reformers represented in Dáil Éireann, and I think we need more activists in Dáil Éireann too. Less talk, more action. It was certainly needed up there. There's some lovely filth down here says I've got to shot on here. Oh yeah, nice one. Yeah, he's got a boot on. Yeah, sorry guys, it's been a long old stream. I really apologize for that. Didn't intend for it to go on this long. Mustawa says I'm in favour, or no, Karen Griffin says I'm in favour of Sinn Féin taking power. I just moved back from Canada, and I'm just shocked to see nothing has changed. Such a disgrace of a country. Knowledge is power says Gino should present a plant to the Dáil. Very much, yeah. That's another alternative there to him. Bring in a plant, because he has been fighting very long for access to this plant for patients. So that very much would be symbolic too of that fight. So there you go, Gino. The choice is yours. Bring in some CBD flowers for support with Little Collins. Bring in a cannabis plant, or do what I done. Bring both. Hey. Coxo says, I can promise you I'll campaign with you next general election, Martin. Thanks very much. I really appreciate that, because I might need it. If I get locked up, I might be campaigning from behind bars, doing an old Bobby Sands on it. I don't know about the hunger striking part, but I'll definitely run from behind bars. Yes, I love it. The civil disobedience challenge coming in there from Mustow is yes, get that hashtag trending there, guys. Sorry, Gino. um, Junglist says if Sinn Féin are mandated to legalise before they are elected, we will win 100%. I think that would be a landslide for Sinn Féin in the in when come election time if they were mandated to support legalisation. But I think if maybe somebody like me is running for them, um, I'll certainly be voicing my support for it. You know yourselves, I won't be corrupted by Sinn Féin um, or their party politics and stuff like that. I would possibly be kicked out of the party if I was to be running for them and it wasn't mandated and I was speaking outside of the party mandate. Mal Moran says, does the CBD bud from Little Collins test hot for THC? And over the 0.2% limit. As ridiculous as that limit is, a large legal CBD grow can test hot for THC. Yeah, 100%. Your CBD buds can test hot for THC. And what happens in the test is it tests positive for cannabis. And that's what comes back as Backrow TV says, take to the street more frequently in protest and collect the petition signatures while out there and post it to the dial. It's all about noise. They hope you will just go away eventually. Yeah, that's true. It is all about noise. And yeah, once we get back out there protesting, I certainly will be trying to do something along the lines of collecting signatures or getting more people just engaged in this form of civil disobedience protest. Because outside of signatures, like that's great getting signatures, but getting court cases, that's another level of signature. You know what I mean? That's just taking it to the extreme. And we need to take it to the extreme now, but in a peaceful, civil manner. Junglist, we can do this. We have the numbers. We just need to be coordinated. I 100% agree with you there as well. We need to be coordinated. Yeah, we've the highest rate of cannabis use in Europe, according to the latest survey. Almost 1 in 5 people say that they use some form of cannabis, so that's a very high number. Hey. And Eleanor Simmons says independent is all the way. I 100% agree with you as well, Eleanor. Independent all the way is very close to my heart. The only reason I believe in joining Sinn Féin is I'm being brainwashed, I think, by some friends into what will come in the next election, which will, I do think Sinn Féin are going to take a lot of seats. Will they take a majority? I think there's a good chance that they could, if they run enough candidates, that is. So I am being swayed somewhat, but definitely 100% independent all the way. If I go to the Sinn Féin, like I will be bringing my heart of an independent with me, and I will never be losing that heart of an independent. I'll be going there to represent the people, my community, which it started always, and it'll always remain the cannabis community. And by no way will I change if I join Sinn Féin. It'll only be by name, not by nature. Yeah. They're probably not going to let me join now over saying this. Who knows? Let's see. They mightn't watch this. Jungler says independents can bring attention to an issue, but they can never pass legislation. As cringe as parties are, they're the only way to get laws passed. But don't forget, in the parties need the support of independents sometimes to get legislation over the line. So independents do play their role. So I won't discredit the role of an independent in the passing of legislation at all. They certainly do have to support a party in it. But I don't think that's always the case. I do think there's been cases where private members' bills from independents have been supported, but I could be wrong in that now, because I don't have any examples to present to back up my argument. So last two comments there. Mal Moran says, yes, thanks to knowledge is power. That's the grey area. How much is tested from how many different plants? There's many variables. Well done there, guys. Looking out for each other in the comments community. I love that. Jungler says, we don't even need to run for them. We only need them to take up a re-legalization policy. It's once it's party policy, they have to campaign for it and to vote for it. Yeah, that's what I mean, guys. Sign up for the party. You don't need to actually run in the election, but you sign up for the party to be able to vote at the members' Ardèche, which is to represent the entirety of the Sinn Féin party, which is all of the everyday members who sign up, who at least attend the Ardèche and vote at it anyway, or however they collect the votes. Knowledge is power there gets in the last final comment. The 2016 Ardèche calls for a review of cannabis policy. How long do they need and how many Ardèche motions? Yeah, 100%, man. Yeah, they are dragging their heels and they're not following up in what they were told to do, I suppose, by their members, and the call for a review of cannabis policies. Maybe they've done it, and they've done it in some shitty form of like just presenting a question at the Oireachtas members' questions, where they question some minister in charge of one of these things. Maybe that's how they've done it, and that's how they scapegoated out of it. Put up their little video there on Facebook or whatever, and pat themselves on the back. Oh, look what we're doing for cannabis policy reform, because we were told to do it by our members, and then gone, gather as dust, and never talked about again. You have respect to what you have to respect what you do, bringing it to the station. Respect to just hope something happens, at least something comes for it. And I've written to Sinn Féin, found out some of this info. If someone makes a group and invites me, I can share once I get a reply. I'm in Facebook jail at the moment for abusing racist boomers. All right, I'm not reading any more comments, guys. Sorry, apologies. And thanks very much, everybody, for your participation in today's show. Guys, if there's anybody out there who's been here for the entirety of the show, the hour and 45 minutes, much love, much respect, guys. Geez, you're a true fan of the show. Not to say that anybody who has had to leave for anything isn't a true fan of the show, but like, geez, to sit there and listen to me for an hour and 45 minutes, like that must take dedication. So guys, thanks very much, everybody. It's been an absolute pleasure. Until Wednesday, I'll be back with some more 420 news, and stay blazed out there, guys.